So I just came out to start the 8N. This is a 1952 Ford 8N, and it doesn't want to start. It's getting fuel. It's flooding out at the carb. It's got spark, so I've got a spare carburetor on here. I'm just going to swap it in real quick. I'll show you guys how to do it if you don't already know. Full disclosure, I've never actually swapped out a carburetor on this tractor before. But just looking at it, really simple setup, so I don't think we're going to have any trouble. Let's get into it. Okay, so for those of you who don't already know, this right here is your carburetor. We're just going to take off. I've already got one off, just about got the other one off. These little 1/2-inch nuts, so you'll need a 1/2-inch wrench there. Before you do it, I'd recommend going over there and turning off your fuel line at the sediment bowl, which is running right here, and then this should pop off. I think that's a 7/16. I got a pair of pliers. That'll come right out. And then after that, it looks like just choke cable, and then I think throttle cable, and that's just about it. So there's the second 1/2-inch nut there. All right, pull this off. Easy. All right, and so we're gonna do this fuel line now. There's probably a little bit left in the line, which is fine. It'll spill a little. You're not gonna change the carburetor without spilling a little fuel. But I do have a little piece of cardboard set out below just to kind of soak some of that up. Alright. There we go. Nice and easy. Look at that. Okay, so that's just like a little flared brake line. And here it is. Here's your carburetor. And then as expected, there is your choke cable and throttle cable. That was easy. There's your carb. Little 1-barrel setup. I'm assuming, as heavy as this is probably the original carburetor that came with the tractor. And what that tells me is I can give it a good soak, tear it apart. I'll probably just soak it in some lemon juice or maybe some white vinegar, and then maybe next weekend I'll come out and clean it out and put it back on there. In the meantime, I've got another carburetor. And yes, I'm sure some of you are going to be very quick to point out this is a Chinese, ordered part. I paid, I don't know, 30 bucks for it. So I do not know how well it's going to work. I've heard kind of both on these. I've heard that you're better off just tossing it right in the bin. And I've heard that they put them on, they work great. So we're going to find out. To install your cables, I love this mechanism. It's so easy. Here is, I can't really focus because my hands are covered in gasoline and it would short out my camera. But there's these little knobs on there and you just pull the cable out. Now your top one is your throttle cable, and so that's the cable on what's in my right hand. And it should just fit right in there. Okay, there's one. My choke cable's in the left hand. Pull that forward and that fits, and that's done. Look at that. That is awesome. I love it. Now I don't have a gasket for this. It didn't come with one, which I guess shouldn't surprise me. But that's okay. I do need these bolts out of the original carburetor, so hang on. We're going to set this right here. I bet you if I just turn that original carb upside down and give it a couple of whacks on the ground, nothing will happen. Let's see. Oh, those are threaded in there. Okay, that explains that. So I need to, so these right here, these posts are threaded in, so I need to get a pair of pliers and then thread them out and thread them into this one. Okay. There's one, and then this one, same thing, just gonna, the center of these isn't threaded, so you won't damage that when you grab it with a pair of cheap pliers like this. And there's two. All right. And now we're going to thread them onto this carb, just like the old ones were. There's that. Here's this. Grab our cheap little fake Leatherman. I'm just going to tighten it down just a little bit, just so it's threaded in there nice. I think I just heard the truck door close, which means Marcy's here. That should be fine. So, one here, one there. Lose both the locking nuts, or locking washers. Probably not going to find the other one. Oh, there it is. How about that? Right there. Find the original nut that we had on there. I'm also noticing that I need something needs to be different for the for this to thread in. Okay, yep, same. So here's the original carb. This piece we're gonna unthread and thread in there. Okay, so I went and got a pair of vice grips. Now I can get this off. Like that. Remember, you're always going counterclockwise when you're unscrewing. Okay, a little screen on there. I don't know if you can see that. So that'll go in here. Like this. Okay. We got our second 1/2 inch nut. I'll put that one back on. Like this. Alright, that's nice and snug. Get our fuel line back on. That's just about it, isn't it? We'll put our breather hose back on. Goes up here first. Tighten this back down. Yeah, it looks good. Perfect, kinda. I think that's it. So we're gonna go turn the fuel line on. Yeah, if we did this right, it should just fill up with fuel and be ready to go. Alright, so we got the sediment bowl, the fuel turned on in the sediment bowl, and we can see the fuel bubbling around in there. Now you can't really see it from here, but that means there is in fact fuel going into the carburetor. And if we're lucky, enough fuel will go in there, it won't leak, and then we'll fire it right up. Try, set our throttle, key on, and